Hello everyone and welcome to 1000 PS. My name is Busty Wolter and I am the off-road expert. I am here in Arco di Trento on the Motocross GP track with the brand new Honda CRF450R model year 2027. And the motto of today is Kiwami. That is Japanese and means something like a complete overhaul. The Honda has been turned pretty much upside down, and that only 2 years after the last major model change. Usually Honda does that every 4 years. Now it only took 2 years until the big makeover came. The engine has been revised more extensively than it has been in the last 10 years. It is the lightest CRF450 since 2009. It has lost a full 4 kilograms. The engine has gained around 10% more peak power, around 4% more torque, and that results in an improvement in the power to weight ratio of around 14%. That is quite massive. Many parts of the engine have been changed. The entire airflow has been revised, starting from the air filter, the intake duct, the cylinder head, piston, crankshaft, which has received a completely different shape. It is now rounder and no longer shaped like an anchor as we know it. The valves, all of that has been worked on. The engine has become significantly narrower and has lost almost 3 kilograms on its own. There is also a new exhaust system which complies with the new noise regulations. The diameter of the exhaust header has become a little larger. The whole system has also become lighter. A new clutch is working in the CRF450. It is supposed to have a kind of slipper clutch effect and therefore have a positive influence on the riding behavior, especially when entering corners. The engine braking effect is supposed to have been significantly reduced. This is basically achieved through 3 rubber push drives and 3 pistons. And yes, I am excited to see how that feels on track in a moment. The bodywork has also received a makeover, not only visually. You can see it very clearly here already with the red and blue. I do not know. It is a matter of taste. You can write in the comments whether you like it. A lot has also been done to the frame. Around 70% of the frame parts have been revised. There is a 10% increase in stiffness. That was intended. And Honda has also taken a new approach with the suspension philosophy. Until now, the goal was to create as little friction as possible. Now they say we are looking for the optimal amount of friction. That means less friction at the beginning so that the suspension responds sensitively, but when it goes deeper into the suspension travel, then a little bit of friction is allowed so that it does not bottom out. The electronic rider aids are already familiar. You can adjust them here on the handlebar with a button. There are 3 mappings, a standard one which is on position 1, a softer one on position 2, and a more aggressive one in the 3rd mapping. These mappings cannot be influenced through a smartphone app or anything like that. But that is why you have 3 to choose from. There is traction control, which can be activated in 3 levels or switched off completely. In addition, there is launch control, so the electronic starting aid, so that you can hopefully get your nose in front at the start. The wheels have also been revised. The wheels have become a little more stable and lighter. And overall, as I said, these are the biggest changes in quite a long time. And that comes 25 years after the first CRF450 was introduced. How it rides, I will now find out for you on the track. Stay tuned, and after that comes the verdict. That was a long hot day today. It was 37 degrees Celsius, but I pushed through for you, and I have to say I really like the Honda. I like the engine very, very much. In addition to the changes already mentioned, the engineers also tried to make the gears overlap a little more and to achieve more over rev, and that is exactly what I can confirm. You can now accelerate out of tight corners in 2nd gear, and if there is not quite enough time before the next corner to shift up again, you simply keep revving it out. Despite the high revs, the feeling does not become unpleasant, and the Honda simply keeps accelerating, so it does not flatten off as much as may have been the case in the past. Nevertheless, you can also ride it strongly on torque. That means shifting up early, preferably coming out of the corner in third gear, using the clutch a little bit. That also still works on the Honda. I spoke to a few other guys who currently ride Hondas as well. They said that it may have lost a little bit of torque in the lower range, but with this new concept where you can rev the gears much further, I think you just have to adjust to it a little bit. That worked well for me. I felt comfortable. Of the mappings, I actually like the soft one best today because it responds very, very smoothly. I think that will be the mapping most amateur riders will be happy with, even if you race. You can ride very energy efficiently with it. I let the traction control support me on level 1. That is the level that intervenes the least. And in this combination, I could really ride in a very energy-saving way. I hardly had to keep my finger on the clutch anymore. Only very rarely, and I like that. The standard mapping is a little faster and the aggressive mapping is something for the more ambitious athletes among you. But the soft mapping is not slow. It just responds more gently. And here next to me you can see the big jump, a double step up. The Honda still marches forward well, even in the soft mapping. I was always able to jump it. And when you give full throttle, you still get full throttle on the Honda. I also really like the balance of the motorcycle. It feels nicely balanced. I would say the frame has exactly the right stiffness, even when you aimed a little bit more towards the outside of a corner with your line and then wanted to go further inside. After all, that worked well. And the motorcycle did not slide away. It felt like it was on rails. I really liked that too. The Honda was also agile in the air. You could do whips, scrub, and everything your heart desires. What bothered me a little is the clutch. The new clutch itself works very well, but the force required at the lever to pull it is quite high. So after a few laps it became a little bit too tiring for me. I would wish that it were a little easier to pull, but that is actually the only thing that bothered me a little about the new Honda. With a new larger tank and a flatter seat, we now have a slightly different tank seat line, and despite my height of 1.87 meters, I was able to move around well on the motorcycle. I had good contact surfaces everywhere. I could sit far forward, and I had no trouble standing up from the seated position. So all in all, I really liked the Honda. If you have any questions about it, write them in the comments. I will take a look and try to answer them as soon as possible. Otherwise, of course, there is also a written test article on 1000 PS. You can read that as well. There may be a few more details in there, technical information and the prices. With that, I would say, see you again soon. Take care. Bye.